Most goods and services in the U.S. are still more expensive than ever. The Consumer Price Index, a key inflation indicator, showed inflation is still close to a 40-year high instead of cooling off as many had expected. While gas prices are down, most other essentials are up, like rent.
It went up 20%, give or take. So from $600 to $800, that's $200. So it's a big rise.
And medical expenses.
Went to the dentist about a couple of months ago, and to extract something is like 150. Before, it used to be like only 50, 55, maybe 70 at the most.
Wall Street balked at the inflation news. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted more than 1,200 points, falling nearly 4%. It was the worst day for American investors since June 2020.
It's clear from kind of core inflation readings and some internals that we look at that we still have a broadening inflation problem that's seeping into more parts of the economy.
U.S. President Joe Biden said unemployment remains low and the stock market doesn't necessarily reflect the state of the economy. He seemed unfazed during a White House event to celebrate the so-called Inflation Reduction Act.
This bill cut costs for families, help reduce inflation at the kitchen table, because that's what they look at.
The bill passed a month ago. It aims to invest $375 billion to fight climate change and helps some 13 million Americans pay for health insurance. It does not, however, tackle widespread inflation, according to economists. Republicans opposed the law and blame inflation on Biden's party.
American people know who created this mess. They remember quite well how Washington Democrats spent the spring of 2021 dining out on left-wing spending and leaving taxpayers to pick up the bill.
Economists pin rising prices on the war in Ukraine, supply issues linked to COVID, and stimulus and disruptions in the labor market. In its meeting next week, the Federal Reserve is expected to announce another increase in interest rate, an aggressive move aimed at bringing down inflation, but that also feeds fears of a possible overcorrection that could trigger a recession. Heidi Zhou-Castro, Al Jazeera, Washington.